2019, and although it happens to be Halloween, that is not why I'm wearing this. I bought this, or ordered it online from Indonesia, and I absolutely love it, and I've had it for a number of years now. And I am the chief of Race-Based Law and Unity4Canada, although that's kind of a more grassroots thing for everybody. But welcome to my first video blog in a long time. We're going to talk about cultural appropriation and unity and Unity4Canada, and why we all have to come together, and why the natives have to come with us into the future, the same as all the new immigrants and everybody else. So let's have a seat, get your coffee, and I want you to know that I mean no disrespect in wearing this. I mean a lot of respect, actually, and I actually expect respect in return. This does actually mean something to me. It signifies that I am the chief of this race-based law movement, and that I want to be heard, just like other people, other special interest groups in Canada want to be heard. And there are a lot of people in our tribe who also want to be heard, and they're not being heard. And it seems that they're not being heard because they're not the right race, or they're not the right religion. And there are really seems to be there are only two voices in all of Canada right now. Two voices. One is a dominant religious voice, and the other is a dominant race voice. And that has to change. It has to stop. We need to all come together and go into the future together. And we need to help our new immigrants understand that this is a country that was founded on freedoms, and that we're gonna fight for our freedom. And that's why we need the natives to come along with us too. And there can't be any more of this division stuff, and they need to get wise to the United Nations and the games that the United Nations are playing with the indigenous people around the world, which, by the way, we're all indigenous to this earth. You notice how the only people who aren't indigenous are the Europeans, who are now being raped and invaded? And by the way, I want to talk about cultural appropriation when it comes to this kind of a thing. We all culturally appropriate from each other, and isn't that fantastic? Like, it's such a great thing that we do that. I personally culturally appropriate from the East Indian food restaurants. I absolutely love them. I culturally appropriate all the sushi Japanese restaurants too. The food especially. The food is the best to culturally appropriate out of any culture here, especially in Vancouver, because there's so many cultures, and there are restaurants. I mean, you literally one block from here, there is everything from French to Philippine to Malaysian to Belgian to Chinese to sushi to it is incredible. And it's just that Vancouver, that's the best thing about Vancouver, is this intermingling, and that is the best thing about Canada, is cultural appropriation. We need to celebrate cultural appropriation, and this headdress has a lot of meaning to me. Like, it's like the opposite to disrespectful. It has so much weight and so much meaning to me that I'm willing to put it on and say, no, it's not a costume. However, it can be, and it should be. We should be able to wear anything we want for a costume. Just like when you go to a Shakespearean play, it should not be offensive to somebody who was, living in Shakespeare's time, that you would wear the outfits of those times. The whole point of Halloween and costumes is that we wear something different that we don't normally wear, and that we even acknowledge things and get that aren't really us, and get creative. And there's you can be a pumpkin, you can be a skeleton, you can be a nun, you can be it's whatever you're not normally. It's the whole point of Halloween is appropriation. We need to celebrate appropriation. Here's the thing. Halloween has a much worse history than wearing costumes of a nun or a pope or, something. But I this isn't a costume. Like I say, I do take this very seriously. I absolutely love wearing this. I wear it around the house. I'm not just saying, I absolutely love it. I'm not taking it off. It's mine. I am the chief of this thing, right? So, and I want to be respected and listened to that same way that they do. And I intend to. I'm the leader of this movement, and I have a lot to say, and I'm out to save Canada. And if they're not, then they're the divisive ones. They're the hate mongers. They're the race race-based people. There should be no race laws in Canada that separate anybody for any reason. I mean, no going to school or suffering is a reason for race laws and extortion off of everybody else who isn't your race. It's just not okay. By the way, I will say, I have done a term. I've been missing for a while, you notice? I've been missing for a while for a reason. I've been studying this issue extensively. And I'm going to give the Natives and the missing Indigenous women, which is just missing Native women, we're all Indigenous to this earth. You got to stop those racial slurs, but we'll talk about that later. This is really important. You guys are going to freak out. You should be looking right into this because it's really serious and it's connected to RPM. Satanic ritual abuse. Where are the women going? I found out. I did the research. It's serious. It is evil beyond comprehension. You can't even believe what's going on out there and what has been going on out there for centuries. How lied to we've been and how the mainstream media is involved, including the CBC. And we are talking satanic ritual, pedophilia, and abuse, sacrifice of children. There was even a history of the Queen. She stole 10 children from the Kamloops Reserve in the 60s. But there's also a lot of a history of one of the Mohawk reserves on the border where they were doing, it wasn't like, it was the English, the royalty, who used that area for satanic ritualistic abuse because the governments couldn't get into that area. From what I understand, it's since been kind of cleaned up, but they used the Natives for that. So, and same with the Picton pig farm, that all links back to satanic ritualistic abuse. His sister was connected to the CIA. You guys have been picked off by the deep state. It is so sick what they are doing and what they've done. They blew up Syria. This is all deep state, all of it, all connected, all CIA connected. They blew up Syria so they could scoop up children to rape and sell on the market. It's been huge child trafficking. And that's where some of your children have gone. And that is what happened to some of your children in the Native schools. That I found out unequivocally. The Pope was coming down. The entire Catholic Church was coming down. It was a satanic cult from the beginning, as was Islam. It was planned that way by the ruling elites. Like that, these are all blood sacrifice, both of these, okay? They're the two most powerful, actual, like satanic forces on the globe. And they suck a lot of people in. That it's we need to come together. All the good parts of all of the religions need to come together on a spiritual, higher consciousness level. Take all the good, and we all come together at the top here, and we leave all that hate and divisiveness at the bottom. We need to come together. And wearing this is part of making you listen to me so that you understand. I did a tremendous amount of research, and the United Nations, their evil it's evil beyond comprehension. I can't sum it up all here. You're going to have to start to pay attention to what I'm doing and what I've been following. Go follow QAnon. It is not a hoax. It is the greatest military intel drop in the history of man, and it's actually the greatest military operation in the history of mankind. It is the most sensational, thrilling thing that we've ever seen. I've been in since day one. It's not a hoax. Not a hoax. It is huge. They're going to Gitmo. All these people that I'm referring to, they're going to Gitmo. It's celebrities. It's Robert De Niro. It's all the people who are screaming the loudest. CNN. They're all involved in this satanic ritualistic abuse and cannibalism. Look up Brima Abramovich and follow Liz Crokin on Twitter. She has been outing the pedogate thing. She lost her journalism job because she was outing pedogate. It's real, folks, and it's worldwide, and it goes right up to royalty in Belgium, which is why the Bilderberg meetings are all there. Like, we're talking the Black Forest and the stories of Hansel and Gretel and the witch eating the children, all real. One of the first things that happened when Trump took over, and by the way, that he was asked to run so that this operation could happen, and that's what's happening now. They're literally taking down the ruling elite, the bankers, the Federal Reserve people, the Rothschilds, the Mossad, the CIA, the equivalent of it in the UK. It's the whole deep state is coming down. The deep state was running North Korea, that they had Kim Jong-un by the balls. He has been freed now. That's why he's such a happy guy. They also had Iran by the balls. The CIA did Syria. The CIA created ISIS. They created all that, and they were live organ harvesting. They were taking Syrians and to gymnasiums and laying them on tables and pulling out their organs live. You don't even know what those Syrians have been through. So for anybody, honestly, here's the truth. And guess who's involved? JT. He's not trying to help these people. Do not believe in this benevolence. He's in as deep as it gets. His dad was in as deep as it gets. Do your research. Look up Kathy O'Brien on YouTube. Kathy O'Brien. MK Ultra Mind Control. There is a serious history of Trudeau having an MK Ultra Mind Control admitted Satanist pedophile psychiatrist stay at their house every weekend for years and years after Maggie left, who was also MK Ultra Mind Control. She comes from the that whole line, the whole lineage. All of those ruling families, they all MK Ultra Mind Control their kids, and they do it by trauma. It's all trauma-based control. It's evil beyond comprehension. You can't believe what can't. I got so many stories for you because I've been gone for 18 months and I've researched seriously, gone right down the rabbit hole, and it's all real and you can connect the dots. It's all spread through Hollywood. That's why they're all screaming and yelling. Hollywood's coming down. And I've heard stuff through the grapevine because I was in the film industry too, and I've seen some weird stuff go down. And then also the ET space program. They've been hiding that from us too. Antarctica and what they're doing there. Pretty much everything you see on all of their films, like Men in Black, all those creatures, it's all real. What they do is they present what they know, because it's all CIA based, right? All the space program, it's all secret space program, it's all CIA based. And so they take all that knowledge and they put it into films and they present it to us as fantasy. A lot of it's not. They are 50 years ahead of us in technology. The shit they're doing with CERN, you got to look it up. It's all there. It's all there. It's all there. It's all there. So, but anyway, the part of the QAnon operation, believe it or not, and because I've done so much research, I can't just, it's hard to, people are going, oh yeah, that's so crazy. There's no ETs. Oh yes, there are ETs. Oh yes, there are. They've been here for quite a while. They're at the Antarctica. That's what the whole thing is about. That's what the secrecy is about. And that's another reason why they killed JFK. The CIA, Bush killed JFK. They're all going to Gitmo, by the way. They're all going to Gitmo. McCain did not die of a brain tumor, no brain tumor. They took him to Gitmo and they gave him a military tribunal last Christmas, and he was found guilty of treason, among many other things, including child trafficking. These people are seriously child trafficking. They were in Afghanistan heroin harvesting. These people are evil beyond comprehension. Selling secrets to the Chinese. It's the opposite to Trump-Russian collusion. That's what they used to cover up what they were doing. These are the most evil people in the history of mankind. There's a video on the dark web. I don't advise you to go look at it, but this is what's coming out. They torture children before they rape them, and they torture them before they kill them, because it increases their adrenaline in their body, and then they harvest the adrenochrome and they get high off of it. They're literally addicted to the blood and the meat and the adrenochrome. It's the most hideous thing it is so hard to believe. I went through a serious process. I'm wearing this for a reason. A serious process accepting this, because they trust that it's too crazy for us to accept, and it's all real, and it goes right up to the Queen. And that's what happened to those Kamloops children. That's what's happening to missing Native women. And we need to come together. It's really, really, really bad. And Trump is saving the world. You need to get on board. We all need to come together. The MAGA movement is the most amazing movement. They are so full of love. It's the opposite to hate. They have prayer chains. They stick together. They hold each other up. We need to start doing that in Canada. I'm wearing this to get your attention. I would love to culturally appropriate more of the Native culture. I would love to see. I've been to a sweat lodge now. I really love that part of their culture, and I wish they would just bring it way out more into the mainstream. Stop being bullies politically, because they've really taken on the United Nations. The evil. If they knew how evil the United Nations were, and how the United Nations want to depopulate by 90%. There is no way they're saving the natives, or what they've got planned, and you can even read it in the Georgia Guidestones. You can go look it up. It's not even a secret. They say it right out loud. They want to depopulate those FEMA camps. They're extermination camps. They have underground tunnels all around America. And again, you can research all of this, but it's all coming out too, as well as ET disclosure. And there are some people, some ETs in really high places that are helping this whole operation with QAnon. There's some serious military involved, and a few trusted humans, and there's literally the Galactic Federation of Light involved. I've done my research. It's real. They're real. They're here, and it's absolutely amazing. And they're amazing people. And I strongly urge you to go online, because the last 2 years it's been happening like crazy, and look up crop circles that have increased like crazy in the UK. And the reason why they're there is because there's a high concentration of crystals there. And they use the crystals. They activate from the ships above. They activate the crystals below. They've literally been telling us what they do. Like, they're making contact with people all over the place. They've got Twitter accounts open. They've got YouTube accounts open. They're literally telling us who they are and what they're doing here. Like it's everywhere. It's all around us. Okay, and you can also look up one of my favorite. I love the crop circles because the sacred geometry is also really interesting for anybody who's into science. All of you physics brainiacs guys out there, which I actually am. I love physics, and the sacred geometry is what really dragged me into the whole thing. Far from hocus pocus, it is like literally the makings of the universe. It's so fascinating. Wormholes, stargates, like they're explaining everything to us. Like they're right out loud explaining how it all works. Your soul really does get reincarnated. You have many, many lives. You live all the races. You live all the cultures. You live the bad guy. You live the good guy. Sometimes, you know, when you're fighting with somebody in your life and you have this karmic value thing going with them, maybe last life you were husband and wife. Maybe, you know, 2 lives ago you were enemies. Maybe 3 lives ago you were best friends. Like they've explained all of this to everyone, and it's just overwhelming evidence and information coming in. So check out the crop circles, because they've risen extensively, and they're so interesting in their sacred geometry. And now we're learning what that means. That's what I've been engulfed in the sacred geometry part, trying to read what these Arcturians, mostly Arcturians, but Pleiadians make crop circles too, but not very many. They're not as interesting. It's the Arcturians that make them, and they are super interesting. If you're into sacred geometry, sacred geometry is how the universe works. Like electromagnetic fields, it's amazing. The flower of life, and what they're teaching us basically is the essence of our consciousness is love. It's love. It's love. It is love. It's so simple. All of the most important messages in all of the religions, in all of the proverbs, in all of the wise teachers, whether they were Buddhists, whether they were just philosophers, the highest level of the teachings are all the same. And that is what these people from these higher consciousness places are teaching us. And it really is about love, and it is about unity. And the earth really is changing. We're going into a brand new phase. It's like the age of Aquarius. It's all real. It's fantastic. I highly recommend. Okay, so look up crop circles, and my favorite are the sounds in the skies. Look up trumpet sounds in the skies on YouTube. It'll blow your mind. Like, I don't know how you explain that stuff, but it's all around the world, every different country. There's just people who are going out, like they're in their houses going, what the hell is that? They walk outside with their phones, and there's these big, like, horn sounds in the sky, like way up high. You can't see anything. The sky is clear. And that's another thing too, they've taught us that they can be hovering right above us, but they vibrate just like a fan. You know, when a fan goes really fast and you can't see the blades anymore, they can literally be above us and we can't see them because they're vibrating at a higher level. Or they hide in the clouds. They've got, like, and there's but they're showing themselves more and more and more and more and more. So I highly recommend you just get on board and keep your minds open and know that there's a world mega at Make America Great Again. It's Make Earth Great Again. And that's what they're saying too. On some of those accounts, you can go on Twitter and look up hashtag MEGA, Make Earth Great Again. You'll find a ton of accounts that are getting it, that this is a Earth worldwide movement of the people taking over. The Illuminati are being illuminated. They're being exposed. We're seeing who they really are, what they really do, and they've basically kept us as cattle. They've enslaved us. All of the housing costs, all of the like everything, the banking that we've been enslaved in for so long, everything is changing. You don't know how huge this operation is. It isn't just putting these people in jail. Like the Federal Reserve is being wiped out. They're going back to the gold system. It's going to be like prosperous times again. Invest in gold, and silver, and all the elements. And there is going to be full disclosure. The ETs have already told people right out loud there's going to be full disclosure very soon. They've got something planned, an actually big event planned. And they're even telling us that Jesus was a Pleiadian. He came down to give us these messages. But it was one guy and it didn't work. I mean, people just kept fighting. So now they're going to come down en masse. There's a huge event. They actually call it Sheen, Sheen, the event. And they're going to come down and basically announce themselves to us all around the world, benevolent, shine their lights, play really, calming music. And there's even some of their Hertz music online. You can find some of that too. I went through a trauma. And for anybody who wants to jump in and say anything about charges that were laid against me, that's all being dealt with. Our family went through a really, really serious time. And because of the online stalkers that I had, it triggers someone in my family who was frightened, who then, it's a long schmaltz story. But they were false charges. And the stalkers that created the problem in the first place really capitalized on it. It was really sick what they did. I've gone through so much in Canada for my politics, and I stand alone. In America, they're grouped together, and MAGA all grouped together. I still basically stand alone. Can you imagine what's going to happen wearing this? I mean, I got death threats for it when I worked before. But what I want to do is say, I don't hate you guys. I love you guys. Like, I love you so much. I wish you would get back to the garden, get back to the earth, get back to the lodge, the sweat lodges, get back to nature. Don't pretend that you know about saving the water and then bullying Canada and saying all the land is yours and la 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 la. You don't. Okay, we need to work together. No race superiority, none. You do not own the land. And the treaties were clear. The land was ceded. The land was ceded. But let's just say, for the sake of talk, which is actually going to happen, we need to have a new constitution. We need a new constitution. And so we could basically start from scratch. And that's what I want to start talking about more and more and more. I want to start doing blogs and inviting people in to have the conversation to rewrite the Constitution of Canada, because it sucks. And none of us are really protected under it. We don't have any kind of property rights. And, the natives could get involved from square one, like right from the very beginning, because the land really was ceded in those treaties. And now they're fighting in court everywhere all across Canada, and they're quietly taking land by using our taxpayer money to fight in court. Like, why don't we just all have a really excellent conversation about this? And we should all be involved in that conversation, not just the natives. The natives are quietly taking our land in court, and lawyers and lobbyists and judges are all getting rich off of this. That's why it's called end race-based law. Law, the most important word is law. Like, it is a scam. It's an industry, and they're making money off the grassroots Aboriginals who are suffering, and off the innocent taxpayers who are paying for these lawyers and lobbyists and chiefs who are getting rich. Also, the United Nations who are paying for the chiefs to divide our country. We need to all come together. You lawyers have to stop using natives for this. It's disgusting. Lawyers are. That whole profession does nothing but take advantage of vulnerable people or people who are hurting or whatever. We love you, natives. Haven't you seen how much we love you? The only reason why I stood up and took you on is because you abused us so badly. How do you think it felt for me? I bawled my eyes out to have to become aware of your massive racism and bullying and abuse issues. You really need to get to AA. You guys need your truth and reconciliation. I mean, truth and reconciliation means two parties over and over and over again. You guys are always just dictating what Canada's supposed to do for you. No. You guys got to do stuff too. You got to give something too. And here's what I recommend, because since our prime minister is involved in the United Nations BS, giving you guys everything you want, and it's only hurting you. Like, you're just turning into more and more bullies, and it's creating more and more resentment, which is what the United Nations want. They're using you the same way they use Black Lives Matter and Antifa. And they used Antifa around the world. I mean, know your history, your current history. They created shit on borders all around the world, not just in the United States, what they're doing now with the caravan or here with the, like, come on, we got to come together. We got to come together. The only way to beat the Illuminati and the elite, because there's way more of us, and that's what they're afraid of most, and that's why they want us divided. They want us divided. And there's the best video on all of YouTube is the plan to save the world. Joe Mescapone, I forget his full name. I love you, Joe. You know I follow you on all my accounts, no matter how many times I have to switch. The plan to save the world basically explains QAnon and what happened at the top with the elites and what's happening now. I mean, the mainstream media is all crumbling down. All of it, including the CBC at some point. We're a little behind, but everybody's going to jail, including, I am really sure. By the way, there are 60,000 sealed indictments that are just about to be unsealed as soon as the midterms are over. So get the popcorn out and get ready, because the entire Democratic Party is coming down. Hollywood is coming down. Leaders are stepping down like Merkel. And behind the scenes, although you don't know it, 100,000 people have stepped down from their positions as CEOs and CFOs of things like Sony, McDonald's, Disney, all involved in satanic pedophilia and satanic ritualistic abuse. And the sick shit these people were doing. And what they do is, if you're not involved in their cult, they get you some other way. They get you drugged or drunk, and then they set you up with a kid, and then they own you. But on Epstein's Island, they were doing child sacrifice. In the Vatican, they do child sacrifice. And we all have to just grow up and accept it and stop being defensive about it and come together. Like, literally, please, dear God. I don't wear this because I'm a religion. I wear this because I've learned a lot about Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is a state of love. It's a state of mind. It's not him. It's not, it is the God in all of us. We honestly need to help each other heal. Our earth has been traumatized by these people for a long time. Yes, the natives have been traumatized. You guys need to heal. Come on, let's get to it. All of us, even these girls online that were attacking me the last couple of days. I mean, calling them drunks for a reason, because you can absolutely see when alcohol has infected people. I know that subject really well because it's infected me and my family members, people I love, and I love myself, and I've been the same abusive drunk. Like, those are the things we have to learn and get honest about. We just do. And I really, really love Canada. I love us the most. When, like, I hop in a cab and there's some excellent guy from India who's been here for 15 years, and he tells me a story. I never don't ask people their story. I ask everybody their story, because Canada's the best that way. We do this better than anybody in the world. And we can't let the United Nations and our leaders divide us and split us up. The natives are the only ones complaining because it's being pumped into them. When Isle No More started, the first thing I said was, this is a script, this is a script. Someone has gone into them and given them this script and given them these lies. Like, they've been lied to like crazy, and they've been taught to, like, hate white man and this white thing. And that's been going on in Africa, in the United States. It's white against blacks. And I mean, in Africa, they're slaughtering white people. Like, come on, natives. Like, I have never seen, I'm 57 years old. I never saw us ever fighting like this before. Your youth are way more abusive and bullying and racist than any of your elders. And your elders are on Oxycontin. You know why? Because the deep state's been pumping that into the black communities and into your communities. That's not by accident. You're being eliminated. You're being exterminated. I've done my research. I'm not making this up. They are literally getting rid of you. The same colonialists that you think you're fighting, which is really just us innocent taxpayers, they're using you, switching the dialogue around. They're the colonialists. The globalists are the same fucking colonialists. Wake up. Wake up. That's all I have to say. I'm the opposite to racist. I absolutely hate racism. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I love all of us here together. Like, love, 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 love. And I love the native culture, like the actual original spiritual Native culture. But the thing is too, not all Native history is spiritual. Not all those tribes were spiritual. Some of them were warring and they did terrible things. Terrible things. There's a history. The only actual genocide in all of Canada was the Iroquois wiping out the Huron. They wiped them out. They wiped them out. They absorbed some of them into their nations, and they actually were a nation. The Iroquois were a nation, all through New York and Toronto, and they were huge. But the rest are tribes, just like my tribe, my end race-based law tribe. I love you all. End race-based law, Unity for Canada.